Hey, what's up everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so tonight the Lakers have a game in Sacramento against the Sacramento Kings. And we know, if you're following in this season, they got a new thing going on, a new theme going on. It's called the Beam theme. Basically, they are the Beam team, meaning if they get a win, they're going to shoot a beam, a purple beam of light, right from the middle of their arena into the Sacramento night sky. It's actually really cool to see, but it ain't cool when they're doing it after they beat us. So we need to make sure that they don't have an opportunity to do that. I think the Sacramento Kings right now are a team who probably feels like they're in the Eastern Conference, because just about everybody they've seen over the last week and a half has been in the Eastern Conference. They just ran into nothing but East Coast teams. The Charlotte Hornets, who they faced last. They've seen Detroit. They've seen, who else did they see? Toronto. This is a bunch of Eastern Conference teams over the last week and a half. And it's been mixed results for them. They had a Charlotte team come in this previous game and just really flex. You know, they won the game. It was a close game. Both teams played hard, but you could see the dynamic players of the Charlotte Hornets really took it to Sacramento on their home floor. You know, they got LaMelo, they got Oubre. These dudes are starting to come into their own. Nick Richards. They all played very well and destroyed them in the paint. 72 points in the paint, I believe they had against these Sacramento Kings that we'll be seeing tonight. So that's something that we definitely want to pay attention to. Our very own Malik Monk is a guy on the Sacramento Kings team, and we know how efficient of a shooter he was for us. He couldn't miss a shot pretty much all season long. One of the most efficient players we had. But this ain't that season for him. This is not the Malik Monk we know. Over the past 10 games or so, he's been breaking just about everything he's taken. I don't know this Malik Monk. This ain't the Malik Monk we know. Our Malik Monk was perfectly, consistent, probably shooting over 42% every night. He barely missed. If he did get in a slump, I don't remember it. He just didn't miss very much. But this year, he's 3 for 10, 3 for 11, 3 for 14. You're seeing a lot of that in their box score over the last 8 games. And they just haven't had him really make it work for himself. What my concern is that he'll play against us and get that confidence. So we need to be very careful not to pay a close attention to the struggles of Malik Monk and not remember that he is still Malik Monk. It's one of those situations where doing homework can get you in trouble. It's better that you didn't realize he's in a slump and play him accordingly. It's one of those type of things. So I wouldn't take that information in regards to him slumping as something we should take lightly. As in, don't over guard him as if he's expected to go for 50 tonight, but take the temperature. He is in a very bad stretch for his career right now. Domantas Sabonis and Harrison Barnes are expected to be questionable, meaning we don't know if they're playing or not, of course. But if they are playing, they're both playing extremely well, especially Domantas Sabonis, who basically isn't missing anything at all. The complete opposite of Malik right now. Every game it's been 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 11. He's just shooting pretty much making everything. His three-point shot is falling too. So he's dealing with a hand injury of some sort. Hopefully that affects his shooting if he does decide to go. But hopefully he doesn't decide to go, because this is somebody we definitely need not be on the floor tonight. And of course, with Harrison Barnes, he provides them so much of, strength on the defensive end. Obviously having a player who can be his length next to him and Keegan Murray makes them even more so capable defensively and able to switch things and able to get offensive rebounds, stuff like that. But if they're missing one of those guys, they're leaning on some other guys that they would probably not rather lean on as much for their depth. So they are an extremely deep team. This Sacramento team is a team that we saw Mike Brown in the preseason play 23 or 24 players in rotation in one game. So they have no problem digging in their depth. And they got players. Chizi Metu, for example, is a guy who tends to play well against the Lakers, had a really good game against us in the last game with limited minutes. He's somebody to take seriously from behind the arc, hit a lot of shots. Kevin Huerter is another guy you must pay attention to. May start, may come off the bench. Not sure how they have him in rotation, but he's a highly effective shooter who's also kind of in a slump, to be honest with you, for his standards. Started off the season extremely well and it's kind of weaned off a little bit. But you can expect for him to shoot very well against our defense. So we need to be very careful with him and Malik Monk. deciding to find confidence in this particular game. A guy by the name of Terrell Davis. I think his name is Terrell. I hope I got it right. But Terrence Davis, maybe. I don't know. It's Davis, nevertheless. And believe me, T. Davis always goes off against us. And we know that. He killed us in the last game. He killed us in the game before that. And he killed us in the game before that. This is a guy who just loves playing against the Lakers. And given the fact that they're going to be missing some guys, I think Mike Brown is going to remember that he played well against the Lakers and definitely lean on him to do the same thing tonight. I expect Terrell Davis to go off, or Terrence Davis. I'm not sure what his real name is. Oh, I had it in my head at one point, and I'm pretty sure you've heard me say it corrected in the past. But right now, I think it's Terrence. I think it's Terrence Davis. Point is, it's Davis, and be certain that he's going to knock us off if we give him an opportunity to. Shooting the basketball, particularly from behind the arc, is something he loves to do against us. So Terrence Davis, I believe is his name. Pay very close attention. Off Night is on this team, even though I honestly am looking at him as yet another one of those young players that we need to be targeting because he's not necessarily in a role that they can do anything with. He just needs a much bigger role. He's obviously one of the best defensive players in the world, but he bricks a lot of shots from his role, and he's got a learning curve to deal with. He's almost like Marcus Smart, waiting for Marcus Smart to develop when he was going 3 for 12, 3 for 13 every night. That's where Davion Mitchell is in his career right now. He needs to just find a way to play that Marcus Smart role more efficiently, or hopefully his representation can get him the hell off of this team and find him his starting point guard role where he can really show how dynamic he is on both sides of the floor. Because it's hard for him to get in an offensive rhythm. He's not naturally gifted shooting the ball, but he can get streaky and he can stay streaky. But his defense is ultimately elite, and that's something that I have a very, very keen awareness of. He's simply one of the best defenders in the world. So if you think for 1 second that his limited minutes fully represents what he actually can do in this league, think again. He just needs an opportunity. That's it. So be very, very aware of Off Night Davion Mitchell, a lottery pick from last year, who the Sacramento Kings just simply shouldn't have drafted. Point blank, period. They got De'Aaron Fox. They had Tyrese Halliburton. He shouldn't have been the person they took. But they took him, and now they know how to roll for him, so he's stuck on the bench playing like 18-minute role when he's really actually somebody who has all-star upside and probably defensive player upside. So that's really what it is, man. If you have a need for defense, he's obviously a point guard that you want. So that's the end of that. He should be picked up from somebody. He should be off of Sacramento very soon. Unless they decide not to trade him, as to which I would tell them to do so. Absolutely do so, because you got De'Aaron Fox, and he's not moving out the way. He's only like a couple years older than him, so De'Aaron's got that sewn up. And that's the point. De'Aaron Fox is playing excellent basketball right now, averaging 19 points over the last 10 games. Other aspects of his game is falling into place as well. And he killed us in the last game. He suffered us our 12th, I think it was our 10th loss, 12th game of the season earlier this year. And he just dropped a bunch of points on us, kicked our tails up and down. As I've said in the past, we really don't have a good defensive scheme for dynamic players like him and John Morant and Darius Garland, stuff like that. They're going to dance on us. They're going to eat and they're going to score. So I expect De'Aaron Fox to pick his spots, pick apart whoever's in front of him, shoot mid-range jumpers, get to the line, hit a lot of free throws. He's going to have a De'Aaron Fox game because there's really nothing we can do to keep him from having that. You could throw some of our defenders on him. Obviously, Patrick Beverley, you expect to be on the floor a lot tonight. But I don't expect Patrick to have too much success against De'Aaron. De'Aaron's just too fast, man. He's one of the fastest players in the world. He's in his prime, if not just approaching it. And I expect him to start making all-star teams from here on out. I mean, he's just that good. And, it's one of those things where he's having a good season. This is a good stretch for him. And between him and Domantas Sabonis, they're not doing a whole lot wrong for the Sacramento Kings. So hopefully Domantas isn't out there with his ability to make others better, get rebounds, stretch the floor, bully on the inside. We just don't really have much of an answer for him without Anthony Davis. We're going to be asking LeBron James and Wenyen Gabriel, Thomas Bryant, and all these guys to try to handle him. And to be honest with you, he has too many weapons around him to be focused on him the way we need to be with our talent. We're just going to leave wide open shooters to knock us down. So it's a tough matchup for the Lakers in my mind based on what we see on paper. But there are some things we can do to attack this team. The one thing we must do is take care of the basketball. As we've mentioned a million times when facing this team, they force steals. Whether Keegan Murray and De'Aaron Fox, they got all kinds of guys that do this. Harrison Barnes, if he's able to go, Domantas Sabonis, obviously the big players in regards to this. Davis can get steals. These are players that play defense. So even though their defense has waned over these last couple games against Detroit and Charlotte, I don't think they look very good defensively at all. we don't have the type of dynamic players that they have. Those teams have more youngsters that can do more wiggly stuff. We're a little more sturdy down there. We tend not to be as efficient with guys like Westbrook missing layups and stuff like that. We cannot afford to not play defense against this team. We can't. Just because they are the Sacramento Kings and we're used to them not being very good does not mean they're not one of the best offensive teams out there right now. They can stretch the floor like crazy, and they can get out into the open court and create things for themselves in the fast break. So it's very, very imperative that we know who we're playing against and that we take them very seriously on their home floor. That crowd is going to be behind them. Like I said, they got a big time theme going on, and the whole fan base is back into it, just like the cowbell days, and their team is winning just like the cowbell days. So we need to treat this team like a playoff team who's simply in a bad stretch right now. Some of their players that they're expecting to play very well for them are just in slumps. So we need to let the defense make sense down there for what it is that they're giving us. LeBron James is expected to play. I believe Westbrook is expected to play. All the guys that didn't play in the last game, with the exception of AD, is expected to be down there, which gives me a lot more confidence that we can make more sense. Austin Reeves, hopefully his ankle is 100%, and he's ready to be his normal self. If he's a step slow, it's going to hurt us, though. We're going to need him to be himself. Max Christie looked fantastic on the defensive end, but he did not look good shooting the ball, 1 for 9. Hopefully his shooting can kind of come back around. Got to take good shots, got to make good shots and not fall in love with them when they're not falling. Same thing with Scottie Pippen. He looked good in stretch moments down at the end of the game. When he was put on players full court, we saw exactly what his talent is. He can create angles that create opportunities for steals in live ball situations because of his activity on the defensive end. We must utilize that young fellow while we have him called up. I respect Patrick Beverley. I saw Dennis Schroeder drop 30, but you also have heard my opinion about that. I don't care for that. When we were in a game like the Phoenix Sun game that we had when nobody was out there star-wise, we should have been playing nothing but Max and Scotty and Brown and all these other youngsters. That should have been the only players I saw down there. And we set Russell Westbrook last minute, which I appreciated, but we didn't have the decency to sit Patrick Beverley and Dennis Schroeder, the two main players we probably need to sit the most to help these players get better. So I'm of the mindset that sitting them is the best thing for this unit while AD is out, because there's nothing really for them to be doing out there other than just taking away minutes from guys who can afford to get better. So in my opinion, Rob Pelinka should go ahead and trade those players immediately, or bench them for a little while, indefinitely until AD gets back, so that these young players can have literally all those minutes, so that we can develop them into being role players, so that when AD gets back, when we make the big trade, we'll have a full team full of these youngsters that have had big minutes while our team was not really doing anything. So that's what these next 15, 20 games should be about. Developing Max Christie, developing Scottie Pippen, developing Brown, developing all of the young players, Wenyen Gabriel, Austin Reeves. They're the ones I'm hoping to see the majority of the minutes. I don't care to see Patrick Beverley or Dennis Schroeder at all, because they don't have any upside. We can't trade them for anything young. And at the end of the day, we have young players who need to play big roles over the next several years. And at that time to start for them to get better is now. So if we know what we're doing, we'll follow that model and get away from the small ball, old man crap. It's garbage. We're bad, and it holds no value anymore. And I'm tired of being nice about it. So that's how I feel about it as a fan. Play my youngsters. If we're going to suck, there shouldn't be nobody out there that doesn't have extreme upside, or at least the ability to be traded for something with upside. If we're not using that as our model to get better, we're just running around out there and you're just not doing everything you can to get better, period. No excuses anymore, Lakers. You made enough mistakes, done enough incompetence, you've embarrassed your fan base enough having us run around out here with these players that ain't good enough. We can make them good enough if we play the right ones. Max Christie, Scottie Pippen, Wenyen Gabriel, Austin Reeves, Troy Brown, the big fellas, Thomas Bryant. You know what I'm saying? When Cole Swider gets back, these are the players I need to be seeing. I don't care to see nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Until AD is 100% healthy, that's it. At Bron James, of course, I want to see him run around making those guys better, because you're the GOAT. And if these guys are going to learn anything, they're going to learn it from you, bro. So please, just be big bro for a bad team, because we ain't got no choice, and that's what's up. I mean, we accept what we can accept, and we take the blessings as they come. And if these guys turn into the best version of themselves, believe you me, this is Golden State all over again. Because they had a deep team that had a bunch of role players that had nothing to do with their core, and those role players carried the load all the way through. And that is exactly what we want Austin Reeves, Wenyen Gabriel, and these guys to turn into. Max Christie, they can turn into something like that for us. In fact, I can argue I like our guys better than I like some of their guys in Golden State. Keep it real. Just based on some of the intangibles ours have. So just add more to them, get some better ones on top of that, and we will be in a position to compete with the core that we have. But this old man Patrick Beverley stuff, no. I'm sorry. I requested we have Patrick too. I wanted him here. I did. But this unit, this lineup, no, there's other ways that we have to compete. And that guard position is key. We got Lonnie Walker there. We got Winyon. These young players, man. They are the ones who are going to help us compete the most anyway. We got our best chance of guarding people with Austin Reeves and Max Christie anyway. So let's start tonight. Let's lean on them tonight. Let's let them have the minutes tonight. Austin Reeves is going to be in a position to really attack. Guys like Kevin Huerter are going to be on him and stuff like that. Terrence Davis, I want to see him have the ball in his hands to create for others. Russell Westbrook is doing a great job of continuing to play make. That should be the focus. Getting the ball to the big fella, Thomas Bryant. That should be the focus. We want Thomas to get all the opportunities we can give him offensively, because that's really where he makes his money. We know he doesn't defend, so don't even trip off that. Just get him to being a 25-point scorer. He'll carry us. He got the energy. He has the efficiency. He has good hands. He has the dunking ability and all that stuff to shoot the three in the corner. It fell in the last game. Let's let him do his thing. Don't ask him to be AD. Just ask him to be TB. And that should be good enough to keep us where we need to be. As far as everything else, man, I want you guys to listen to my Laker Dawn video this morning where I talked about what I want the Lakers to do. Essentially, in a nutshell, I want us to trade players that we can afford to lose, maybe attach some second-round picks and leave it at that. And first-rounders are our prized possessions, and if we can't get the best that we can get for it, we probably should let those players be drafted in our uniform and not make the mistake that so many other teams make over and over and over again. But that does not mean stand still and don't make a trade. You got Kendrick Nunn at $5 million. You got Patrick Beverley at whatever, $13 million. You got Russell Westbrook at $47 million. You got second-round picks. Damian Jones has played better. You can throw him into something. You have some assets, and I'm not saying these assets are going to get you the world and a half, but you don't need to be thinking like that. You just need to get assets that you can trade for better assets. That's it. So if we're doing that, looking for the discounts, then you've made me happy. All that other stuff, reaching for the stars, trying to get more superstars you can't make happy, you're going to leave you at a disadvantage. You're only going to be a facade, looking as if you're good enough, but not actually being. Let's not do that. We know what that looks like. We don't like it when we see it in others. We don't like it when we see it in ourselves. So don't intend to build that bullcrap, please. So that's what I got to say, man. Lakers do things correctly. They'll always be in a position to attract the best talent. But if they're looking for the best talent without doing things correctly, they'll never be in a position to effectively make the best talent happy. So that's the reality of the Lakers. If they start to understand that and have that self-awareness, they can start firing people who try to cater to plans against that and hire people who can help us master the strategy of doing so. That should pretty much handle business for us over the next several years. If we think in that way, we'll be back on top soon enough. But if we do things the way we're doing it right now, yeah, you might be good enough. But most of the time, you're just going to look like you're good enough. That's it. So we don't want to be that, man. We want to beat teams like Sacramento. We want to come in here and make sure the light is off. We don't want them to see the night sky at all in Sacramento. It should be pitch black out there by the end of this game. That is what we deserve with the Lakers. And the cowbell idiots, I'm still hearing cowbell ringing in my ears because of what they did back in 2001. They still deserve karma for what they did in 2021. Ringing our ears off and stuff, having Phil Jackson have to hear that crap for 6 games, poisoning Kobe. We ain't forgot. We ain't forgot, Zach. We ain't forgot. None of it. So consider yourself beamed. We're definitely coming. And our team is going to be a little more healthy than we were against Sacramento. I mean, San Antonio. Who was that? Phoenix? Yeah, Phoenix. Going to be a little healthier than we were against Phoenix. And because of it, I expect for us to play much better. As long as we keep an eye on the guys that normally kill us, like Davis and Fox. We keep a muzzle on them dudes. I think we'll have a good chance of putting this team away, man. They turn the ball over a lot. That's the one thing about Sacramento I want to put out there. They do tend to be pedestrian with the basketball, even though they force a lot of steals, so they give some back. We need to make sure that we're turning our defense into offense. That's where we are at our best. And don't forget, you beat the Nuggets without AD. The Wizards without AD. You know, that Phoenix game, we didn't have some key players that didn't, without Austin Reeves, we couldn't even practically run real plays out there. It was basically the Dennis Schroeder show. And he was a minus 17, we lost by like 17. So that pretty much tell you what he was really doing out there. That was a garbage game with bad strategy, and I broke it all down the best way I knew how in that previous video. So I encourage everybody to check that out too. But as far as this is concerned, that's what it is, man. We got most of our team back. Wenyen Gabriel's back. Austin Reeves is back. Braun is back. So that means we should have an opportunity to win. Those are key guys that do things that cater to the business of basketball. You don't need AD out there dominating in order to compete, but you do need those pieces in order to function. And I can tell you that the truth. That is the truth, rather. So that's it, man. Our glue guys are back. If our coach gets away from that small ball bull crap, we're going to have a chance to beat a team that's hobbling a little bit. You know, if Demonis ain't going to be himself, if Barnes ain't going to be out there or what have you, that's going to help. They're going to have to lean on Metu. They're going to have to lean on Keegan Murray. Keegan ain't really been shooting all that well lately. Even though he's more than capable, we know he's going to be elite eventually. At this point, he's kind of disappointed to start his career. So I'd expect him to want to bounce back, Malik Monk to want to bounce back. They're going to lean on those guys. You know, Chezzy, as I said, Herder, please understand, they're going to lean on those guys a little more if those others are not out there. Davion Mitchell may get some more looks tonight, even though I don't expect he's going to shoot very well. You never can tell. He's capable. In fact, very. So keep an eye on everybody with Sacramento. They're a very good, deep, playoff-level team. And, they're fired up. They are fired up. They're not just a fan base that's just, no. They're coming in with intentions to be loud, be boisterous, and they look at us as a rival, even though we don't respect them at all. So that's what it is, man. Sacapinto Beans, Beams, I don't know what you want to call yourself, but I've been calling y'all the Beans since 2001, and that's what you're going to stay. Sacapinto Beans, Sacapinto Queens, whatever. We don't like none of y'all. We've always disliked that lowly franchise. They're like another version of the Clippers, and that's the hate there. So I'm just leaving that out there. So in case anybody's forgotten that we actually don't like Sacramento, we really, really don't like Sacramento. So yeah, that's what it is, man. Yeah. I think new Laker fans are not aware of some of our old rivals. I'm going to make it clear. We don't like Sac. We don't like the Blazers. We don't like the Jazz. We don't like Detroit. We don't like the Celtics. We don't like the Clippers. Those are the real ones. Everybody else is just, people say San Antonio. Not really. We seen them a lot, but there was never no real hate. Houston, yeah, you could say Houston, but we usually got the best of them when we needed to. You know, teams like that. But, like, that's the real, those are the ones. Those are our ops, man. Definitely understand that we hated Sacramento real hard back in the day. So we need to rekindle that and make sure they feel it tonight. Beam team, lights off. BDL 44. Thank y'all for watching. I'm out.